Hello, how you guys doing? James here. Hope you're having a good weekend. Uh, Mine is doing pretty good myself. Well, I have a story for you, but I'm gonna go. This is going. I'm gonna go ahead and play along with these stories, and then I'm gonna give you what I know some people are going through. With I have a friend of mine, and his son is going through some situations, what you will see in this video. But
Question for the people that have successfully gone through a divorce. Is it normal to see babies and
Fellas, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're talking about a shocking trend. Women filing for divorce, thinking they'll find something better, only to instantly regret it when reality hits hard. From losing stability to watching their ex-husbands move on, the regret is real. Stick around as we break down why this keeps happening. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Let's get into it.
I'm walking through a divorce and I'm speaking about it publicly for the first time. And something I don't think I've ever heard anybody speak about is how you can make the decision to divorce someone and absolutely know it's the best thing for you and still love that person and be so excited about the freedom that you're going to have when you're no longer bound by marriage to that person.
I caught my stepson spying on me in the shower at the same time that my husband
oh
used this
my
trick to get
goodness,
hard.
this
I
was a
discovered something
crazy ass commercial. Stop it, YouTube. Dang.
I also long to be with them. Couldn't see it for a real long time, but my marriage was never healthy. And for years and years, people in our circle have told me to divorce him because they saw things I didn't see. Because I believed in the man that he could be. Really fucking happy I'm getting divorced. I really am. And I'm so excited about all the things to come. But I didn't expect this. There's not a longing for what was. But my husband and I were together for 30 years. So there's a longing for that friend. The friends I had in him. Because he knew everything about me. And all the weird things and loved them. Just trying to normalize things, I guess. Things that I haven't heard talked about. I've been in the divorce space for a while because that's where my heart and mind have been. I've been doing a lot of watching videos of content and on different platforms and trying to understand what divorce is going to be like before I actually did it. And this is one thing that nobody talks about. I've not seen talked about. So yeah, this part of divorce sucks. Even when you're really excited about the things to come.
Here's the thing. She made the decision to leave her husband, swearing up and down that it was the best thing for her. Yet, now she's sitting here saying she still loves him. Make it make sense. If leaving was truly the best decision, why is she still emotionally attached? Why is she even bringing this up? Because deep down, she regrets it. But instead of admitting that, she's trying to save face, acting like this was some empowering move when in reality, she fumbled. This is what happens when people make life-changing decisions based on temporary emotions instead of long-term reality. She thought she could do better, thought she was missing out on something, and now she's realizing that she threw away a man she actually loved. Let's be
don't know how to feel. I do want to be distracted, be back at work, but because that's where we met, I think there's going to be a lot of wave of emotions today, and everyone asking where I've been and what's happening. So yeah, I just find a bit of comfort, like vlogging and speaking to someone and letting it out. If I need to cry, I'll cry. If I just need to let the emotions out, and I know that I need to deal with it head on, and that's part of the healing process, and about starting from zero again. And it's hard to, start from zero again after 5 years, but there's people that have been through a lot worse, so I cannot complain. Alhamdulillah. I know that my person is still out there somewhere, and I need to heal in order to be ready to meet them. Because I know I deserve it, and if it's not in this life, it will be in the afterlife, so I'm happy regardless. I'm waiting for the ease, inshallah. Tawakkaltu ala Allah. Bye guys.
She ruined her marriage of 5 years, and now she's sitting here, looking lost, talking about how hard it is to start over from zero. Well, yeah, that's what happens when you throw away a whole marriage. Now, she's out here convincing herself that her person is still out there, just waiting for her to heal before they magically appear. Sis, what if your person was the man you just left? What if there's no perfect soulmate hanging around, waiting for you to finish your self-discovery phase? Let's be real. Healing isn't going to summon Prince Charming out of thin air. If anything, it's going to make her realize that she had something good and self-sabotaged it. But of course, that's not a fun thought. So instead, she's clinging to the idea that the real love of her life is just waiting for the right time to enter the chat. Modern dating is not that forgiving. 5 years is a long time. People change, life moves on, and the dating market doesn't just pause while you figure yourself out. Now,
that's
she
true.
has to compete with younger, fresher, and less baggage-filled women, and that's not an easy restart.
Right.
So the question is, was leaving actually worth it? Or is she just now realizing the grass wasn't greener, just different shades of the same struggle? grass wasn't greener on the other side. Now she's alone, overwhelmed, and crying, not because she lost a man, but because she finally realized she lost a good man. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, because actions have consequences, and this one hit hard.
I'm just gonna say it. Everyone that is in a good relationship later in their life has been divorced. They are not with the person that they got married to when they were younger, because guess what? People change. Also, yeah, I'm a divorcee. I'm married again to the love of my life. Yes, there is true love out there for you. I didn't believe it because I was married to an idiot. Because at one point I was in love. When I was younger, people change. Like, people will be like, no, 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 no. I'm so happy with my high school sweetheart. I'm so happy with my college boyfriend. You are delusional. Like, you can present yourself as happy. And no, I'm not just like reflecting upon my own experiences. This is like literally everyone I meet. When I meet older people who are divorced and then like remarried or like dating someone, they're fucking happy. There is never a time where you think to yourself, that woman should go back to him. No, 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 no. Like, for real, more people need to be getting divorces. It is okay to get married and have fun and like be in love for a while and then get a divorce. Do not stay with a man, yelling. Do not stay with a man that is not fulfilling everything for you. For real. You can have friendships. You can just leave him, like, for real. I know it gets more complicated with kids, but like, y'all, you only live once. Oh my god, if I never divorced my ex, I would be so unhappy. Get a divorce. You will be happier. If this resonated with you in any way, this was for you. Oh my god, I really hope I hit some people I know with this video.
Oh, here we go again. Another relationship guru with Wi-Fi and an opinion, telling the world that every happy couple has been divorced. Yes, according to her, if you're still with the same person you married young, you're doing it wrong. Because apparently, people change, and happiness can only be found after you've thrown away commitment like last season's fashion. Let me translate what she's really saying. If he's not giving you butterflies, attention 24/7, and fulfilling your every emotional whim, leave. Upgrade. Toss him out like an iPhone 7. But wait, what happened to working through things? What happened to growth, loyalty, patience, evolving together? Oh right, that's not trendy anymore. This is the modern delusion. Relationships are now treated like Netflix subscriptions. Not vibing this month. Cancel it. Try a new one. You ever notice these people always talk about fulfillment, like men are walking Amazon orders for their emotional shopping cart? He's not fulfilling anything for me. Ma'am, he's not a candle or a yoga retreat. He's a human being. Here's a thought. Maybe he's not fulfilling anything because you stopped pouring into the relationship too. But that would mean accountability, and we can't have that now, can we? People change? Yes, but that's not an excuse to keep changing partners like a toddler switching toys. If you keep breaking up every time it gets uncomfortable, of course you'll never build something lasting. You're just hitting reset every time life stops feeling like a fairy tale. You want a relationship with zero discomfort? Get a puppy. You want lasting love? Stay, grow, fight, forgive, evolve with the same person. Stop acting like you're the only one that gets to change. He's changing too. So maybe instead of jumping ship the moment he's not your Pinterest version of Prince Charming, try communicating. Try choosing each other again. You don't need another divorce to be happy. You just need to stop running from the work.
I already said this before, but a scorned woman is a dangerous woman. Hell hath no fury like a unhealed woman. And the children. Nice. Some of you women out here lying to your teeth saying you want to co-parent in a healthy way. No, you don't. You want to compete. And a scorned and unhealed woman will say anything in front of their children because her ego is louder than her accountability. And when I put videos out like this, I get women who say, well, what are they supposed to do? Just stick around and tolerate being cheated on and this and that? No, I'm not condoning cheating. I'm not condoning any sort of abuse. What I'm saying is have accountability for how you react, how you carry yourself and conduct yourself after the matter.
Absolutely, absolutely. And that's what's problem with some of these women these days. They just want to take an easy way out.
Is there anybody out there who got divorced and like regrets it, especially women 35, 40, 45, please tap in and let me know, because at this point 89% sure that I'm probably gonna be divorced within the next year. So I can't stay with it. I can't be with you. I can't. And I feel like I've tried so hard. So I've been married for 3 years. People always ask me. And it's really gotten to the point where it's like the past, like, probably 2 months have just been the worst. So where it's like, maybe we just call it. Maybe we just call it spade a spade. But then I'm like, I remember when my parents got divorced, and I do not want to put, like, my son through that. But also, doing it for the kids is not enough. Love is not enough. Getting married, I kind of regret getting married for love. Because I damn sure did get married for money. But I'm also just like, as a Christian, shouldn't get divorced. Like, whatever it is, we can work it out. It's you and me against the world. But it's like, damn, do I want to be miserable? How long do I want to be miserable for? And the thing that I also hate is, like, I feel like people don't share this part of marriage. Like, when people are in the thick of it, because I was watching this interview with, like, DeVal and Kadeen, and I think he said the first 3 to 5 years of their marriage was like hell. But they stuck it out, and now they've been married for, what, like 15 years? And they, seem to be happy. I don't know, but it's like,
I told you guys last night in my video on marriage and how I explained it, how my marriage is working and what it took for me to stay married, etc., etc. And this is absolute proof that women have a hard time once it reached that 3-year period. In this segment, my friend, is all about women who divorce their husbands and usually regret it. Now, listen, please go and watch that video if you haven't watched it from last night. I'll make sure that I link it at the end of this video, but also I'll just show you the thumbnail here. Okay, so like this video, my friends, this is going to be another lesson from the older man. Listen, make sure you book a session if you need any help in your relationship or business or fitness or your YouTube channel. I'm here for you. Okay, remember that. Of course, pick up one of my digital products, either the Content Creators Toolkit or the Digital Vault, and start creating your content today, my friends. Okay, let's immediately deal with this lady and the problem that she's having. I explained to you all last night in my video. Usually, in the past, when women didn't have as many sexual liberties, we always looked at the 7-year itch. But with so much sexual liberation and women getting D-down and the whole phase, etc., it is very difficult for most women to stay monogamous past 3 years. And like she mentioned, it has hit that 3-year mark, and more than likely, she's getting itchy. She's getting that itch that the streets are calling, my friends. The streets are freaking calling. And you know why I know this? Because think about it. She got married. So do you think that she just jumped up and married a guy after knowing him for 2 months, 3 months, a year, 2 years? No, more than likely she knew that guy for a period of time, and then he asked her to marry him. Unless she got pregnant with her son, like she said, and they rushed into the marriage. Either way, she's now in this position where she feels that she now is committed completely. That means the streets are no longer at her disposal, because she's also conflicted with her Christian values. She now feels that she should behave herself, but the streets are calling. That itch is hard to freaking scratch, man. And I can tell you that's what's screaming at her right now. But there's one thing that is very obvious about the amount of divorces that we're seeing, is that it's backed up by culture in itself. You're not happy, you get out. She's not willing to go through the hard stages to get over to the hump, to actually get into that calm, relaxed period with your spouse, where, you know what, you guys have figured it out, you guys have been through some rough times together, you guys are building together. Listen, the building stage is not easy, but building with someone versus building on your own, which one would you prefer? The problem is most women think that when they are on their own that they could do it themselves, right? But when it doesn't work out, she don't have her husband to blame. She don't have that external thing. So she comes up with all the other excuses, excluding the man. Well, she could talk about the deadbeat guys that kept her down, etc., and wasted her time, etc. She could do all that shit. But women never take responsibility or accountability. So right now she just has the marriage that she can blame. The marriage is horrible, and that's what's keeping her down, and that's what's she has to find her own happiness, but she'll blame it on her relationship because responsibility, accountability, it has to be somebody else's fault. And so I want to segue into the Piers Morgan interview with these four individuals on this panel that has been going viral, and it really shows you the nature of where we are as far as relationships are concerned, and especially divorce.
The latest episode of Call Her Daddy features a lengthy interview with Oscar-winning actress Charlize Theron, entitled "I Don't Need a Man." In it, Miss Theron explains how she reacts to people criticizing her for being a single mum.
It's gonna be a long. It's gonna be a long video. Before I go into it, my friend of mine, he has his son. He's married. And his wife, and they've been together for 15 years. And he lives out there in Alaska, and he's been going through it right now because before, she's one of the type of women. He met her. One of the mistakes I see why men say you don't ever want to meet a woman with a child, and I see why, because every time I see some man that meet a woman who already a child when he didn't have a child because basically he was himself because he was in the service. You know, I know him since he was a kid. And the thing about it is, right now he's going through some he's going through some stages out there with his wife. And my friend told me he should just leave her because when they met, you know, she tried to like overrule him when it comes to parenting. They have a kid together. She allowed her daughter, what my friend told me, she allowed her oldest daughter let her boy move in, which is she's like 18, 19 years old. They don't work. They got a job. And she expect his son to pay for when they go out on trips or anything and pay for a boyfriend who's a couple years older and he don't work or nothing like that. So pretty much she's taking advantage of a good-hearted young man. But in the results of it was he's not getting no time and attention. So by him being married to her for 15 years, he found another woman online, and she found out, and she wants a divorce. And he don't want to get a divorce because he wants to stay. He has a child with her. But they've been from what my friend told me, they've been arguing, fighting back and forth. It got to the point that she took a spatula. They got argument and threw it at him and hit his foot and sliced his foot open. You know, and it was almost it almost came to blows. When I told him, I said and we were talking about that. He said, I told him he should leave. And I said, I agree with you. He should, because I mean, when it gets to a point where your spouse is getting kind of violent, that's when it's time to go. And like my friend brothers, they've been through that stuff. They've been divorced, which is his uncles. They've been divorced. They try and tell him he should work it out. You know, he said no. He said I don't think that'd be a wise idea because, you know, he's not happy. He said even when they took the picture together, it seemed like they had to make themselves look happy in the picture, but you can tell that they're really happy. Her family's from Thailand, though she was born here in America, raised in America, and you know she was a little bit older than he was, and already had a daughter. And at the time, my friend told him about years ago, like, don't get with this woman, man. You know, it's like, yeah, why would you're a young man, why are you meeting a woman who already got a child? And he just, for some reason, he fell in love with her because he met her at the bar. That was one of the big no-nos. Meeting, that's my personal opinion. You're not going to get a good woman that anything that come out of the bar isn't any good. And she has some issues from what he told me. And it's like they've been going through it out there. He's out there in Alaska. He's going through with his. And so, get this. He's a truck driver, right? But that's what he do out there in Alaska. He had a chance to get a job in there, since doing his thing. His father tell him that he had a chance to make $150,000 if you go to Arizona. He didn't want to go to Arizona. I don't know how much, and the job was much higher than the pay driving truck out there in Alaska. $150,000 a year. I said, "Are you serious?" I said, "He got his CDLs. Why do you want to go?" That's why. Like, why? How can you turn that down? And I said, "I understand that things ain't working out. You leave the state and get the job, work on joint custody, getting joint custody with your daughter, and you can work that out once you get everything settled." But first he said, now his son wants to do that, but he advised his son, but first you gotta get your court situation, all that stuff out the way when you get this divorce and stuff like that. Then you can go ahead and leave, because that way you don't have to go from Alaska to Arizona. So right now he's in a phase like that, and then they live in a mobile home out there in Alaska, and he was telling me, he said, "Hey man, my friend was telling his son that you need to get your own place, because it's gonna, he been calling him every other day from Alaska." He said, "Look, it's been kind of draining on his mom and him, my friend and his wife, and tell him I said, yeah, he should go. Don't sit up there and waste your life with somebody if you're not happy with." And this is what made me to this video. I had a friend of mine that I went to school with, went to college in Southern Ohio, and I was the best man at his wedding. And I knew since the first day that this woman that eventually was about his wife, he got kids by her. And he waited up until 2018 to leave his wife from 1993, because the whole time, because he left the state of Ohio and moved out to Kansas. So, and he told me when I saw him back in 2018, because we haven't spoken in a long time, because she's a hot mess. She's very opinionated, controlling. Even one time she mentioned that I came a little early out there to come visit him, whatever. I don't know, some bull crap. I don't think she really wanted me to be his best man in the wedding. For some reason, I never did anything to her. I never, just some women are just, when it comes to being friends with if you're friends with somebody and their wife act like that, it's just, I don't know. They act real stupid. But anyway, he would told me that there was times when he was raised, he has two sons. They, one was he's graduated from college, he's a professor. The other one, I don't know if he graduated from high school, and he has a daughter with his first wife, the one I was the best man in the wedding in. So when he was raising the kids, she would undermine, when he would go and discipline his sons, she would undermine his authority. Oh, you don't have to do something like that. Now, when his son get out of line, talk back, that's, as a father, you're supposed to correct and discipline your son. He wouldn't, I don't think he would hit him or something like that, but he would just kind of let him know, hey, cut cut your mess. And she would always grab their back over his back. And that's even though that's their children, but she undermined his fatherly authority. That's one thing he got tired of. Second thing got tired of, about her issue, you gonna leave me but got some weight. And he said, no, I'm not gonna leave you. What? I mean, it's just that he was miserable. I mean, after a while. So finally, he left Kansas and come back to Ohio, and he found another woman. My friend, who I'm telling you about, he's a white guy, and he loved black women and Spanish women because he liked their curves. You know what I'm talking about. So he left his wife. They've been divorced for quite some time, and he got with this black girl. She's Haitian, and he's happy. Then I don't know what. I don't know if they're getting pretty serious, but he said that he would never get married after what he been through with his wife, and I can understand, but you never know with this. This Haitian woman, I think Haitian American woman. She got Haitian ancestry. She a black woman, and they seem to be happy, and so it can come around. That's the same way with going back to my other friend with the son. His brother was in a situation where his brother did just like his son. He married a woman that he didn't have no children when he got with his wife. So he married this woman, Puerto Rican / German woman. She turned out to be the daddy turned out, the oldest kids, he got a kid with her. The oldest boy's brothers, his father is Puerto Rican, and he's in prison for what it's told me. And he married their mom, and she drove him nuts. She didn't want to work. She didn't want to give him a hard time on certain issues, and finally he was glad as hell to leave her. And after when his brother left his ex-wife, she had no connection with his sons. I mean, it's all about herself now. And I'm like, damn, that's kind of cold-blooded. And that must be hard when your own mother don't want to really be bothered with you. But his father, took care of him and loved him, of course, and he's doing well. He went through some problems too. But yeah, this thing. But that's the best advice. And I don't know why. And I've seen this with other men who married women who had children. I had another friend who married a woman. He had no children. He raised her children. Not only he raised the children, he had a good job. He had a business. He's a black man. Had his own thing going for himself, man. So, next thing you know, she makes some crazy allegation saying that the neighbor, I hitting on her. So he go over and confront the neighbor. Neighbor don't know what he's talking about. Like, I never made him pass that your wife. She was the instigator. Not only that, she just wanted to see how she's one of them, trauma, toxic, ghetto chicks, that just want to see something. Which you gotta, your man gonna have a ticking time bomb, and she did dumb stuff. The most low down thing that she did, because by her raising her son and daughter, he said that, and she did this to her ex-husband too. Same thing she did to my friend. He accused her of putting her hands on her daughter, and he went to prison. On top of that, he had to send kind of threaten the neighbor. So he did some time in prison behind some stuff. And then to find out, right before his mother passed away, she told me that he was in it. One day I called up to his mom's and dad's house, and she told me the whole story, what happened, and how she set him up. You know, I'm like, man, that's cold-blooded. And it's really scary, man, what type of, really, as a men, you have a lot of women that are emotionally unstable. And you really got to get to know the women you get with. And this is why I probably stay single this long. I never had no kids, because I never met a woman that had somewhat common sense. And I never really had that woman that really had that unconditional love for their husband. That's hard to find that in a woman. It is. They're out there, but it's hard to find a woman that has, if you're a good man and you're a sweetheart. I mean, you could be, they call you a sweetheart. But these women are something else. This video told a lot. So that's why I want to give my story to it. And so I witnessed this personally. You know, so with the divorce, and finally, you know, they got divorced. My friends and his brother, my other friend that's out that I went to school with, he divorced his wife, and none of them ever they on their second relationship. And some people have never went back and had another relationship because it's so mind running. If you find somebody good in this planet that'll love you, that don't put you through all this mess, you keep that person. And there's a lot of women don't seem like, who do stupid stuff like this, it seems like they're not emotionally ready for marriage. Because this is what I'm learning from watching. Because even though I've never been married, I can just watch other women. They think that they know about marriage, but they haven't had no counseling with the church or with anybody. God has assigned a counselor on how to deal with certain situations in your marriage. These women, they're weak. They just want to, they're so quick to throw in the towel. Then it's like, oh my God, I screwed up. Yeah, you had a good man. So now the other woman got your man. So I think when women do some irrational decision, I think they need to do some self-evaluation before you go and, divorce your husband. If he's not being abusive or not a cheater or something like that, you need some counseling. That's the best thing to do. But it's like the last gentleman said, it's a difference between pleasure, and that's so true. Love heals all things. If you don't have a foundation of love, which marriage should be built on, that's what the Most High God built it on. That's what He's the designer of relationship between man and woman in marriage. If you don't have that, what's the point of being married? What's the point of being in a relationship and being married? Because that's going to produce that seed of who is your children is going to fence and sense that. So you have to take note. And maybe it's a good reason why I never had children, because I would want to be with somebody that didn't want to be with me, and then let that fall on that child, thinking that child he or she think it was her fault. Then they're going through some kind of identity crisis, whatever. And it's a lot of people from all walks of life and ages have felt that, because they trying to, what are they? They didn't have their mom, their daddy, they had that support. So that's all I'm gonna say about this video. Yeah, I guess the point, the reality is, when you pick your mate, let that be a test on who they really are. And men, before you invest, put it to the test. All right then, take care, and I'll see you on the next video.